Renato distrusted doors that opened automatically, especially after being buried for millennia. Was this some sort of trap?
Wasn't making a dent in those shields.
The Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
There was a radiance at the end of a long, dark tunnel. Mother, he thought? Renato was surprised that he didn't feel more pain. Just a bit dizzy. Ooh. What else could you hook? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs.
Those sheaths were really very well made, weren't they?
The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. It was a bit windy up here. This couldn't be good for global warming. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and Reynardo wasn't sure he really wanted to be Emperor. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "What's the core?" said the stone anxiously. The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Sky Ripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there. The moment he landed the Farfarer, Reynardo had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Fu school together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself, except the biggest one, that she was the Emperor's daughter. No, kill Zenobia, whispered the stone. before it's too late.
Hero Wall. Hero Sword. Ice Wall. Ice Cube. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The call will kill you." "Are you afraid of it?"
Don't be ridiculous.
It chuckled.
But it's unstable. It will poison you so much as carry it. And if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically.
Bernardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards. What was the point of this gate? Did they think no one would notice the lever? Cool. Wish I could do that.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. No, it's too much power. We will rip a hole in space and time. He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged. Core. That was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Ronaldo came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. I can't hear you, he sang out. And you? It didn't answer. Ha, he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he?
That's a longboard, just don't ride it in the puddle. Don't ride that, dude. Look, ride it through the puddle. Just ride it through the, through the dry patch, through the dry patches, dude. It'll be good. Just to ride it through puddles.
They move, but people are being entertained.
check, wasn't it?
Cheers to myself. Huh? That's quick. Sorry, does it work? It didn't even work.
These probably some gay fucking shit. Like, literally. Some gay house music. Is that what we're doing now?
Huh?
Is that what you're doing right now?
What am I doing?
Bumping gay house music?
No, change it if you want, fool. You ain't got nothing better.
Not really.
Yeah, fuck off.
But what if we got gay house music, my friend?
As the Farfarer sailed towards the Nexus, Bernardo wondered if the core had been created to silence the stone, or even to feed its hunger. Honestly, he didn't care.
I bet you're gonna get hungry soon again.
The Nexus was infested with ravens, but that didn't bother Renato. With each death, the converted Iblis stone in his gauntlets glowed brighter, and he felt stronger.
Wow. He was getting a bit bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Well, he wasn't one. He was a warrior. They're supposed to be bloodthirsty.
Sear it off and shit.
If they didn't want their things broken, they really ought to make them stronger. Bernardo wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles. The core, absorbed in the stone, was doing its job perfectly. Bernardo could feel a little eldritch jolt every time he downed a raven, but then it flowed into the glowing stone the way water flows down a riverbed. It all felt perfectly natural. As if all his life, this was what he had been meant to do. A crafting bench. Renato wondered what he could make with it. Renato tore through the last remaining guards at the outpost like hot coffee through snow. There was a far speaker toad here. He called the council speaker. He knew she would be thrilled. And she was. She wanted him to come back to base. They had plans to discuss and a medal to give him. A large, golden medal. Great, said Renato. Let's talk about who else I can kill. Then the far speaker croaked again.
Hello, Renato,
it said.
If you get sick of slaughtering second-rate birds in the Nexus, I'm waiting for you in the mountains.
Zenobia, the witch, taunting him. With the stone, he'd finally be her match.
Renato was becoming a powerhouse. He was ready to bring the fight to the Empire, but then Zenobia sent an open invitation into a trap. He knew it was a trap. She knew he knew. Well, whatever she had in store, it would not be enough to stop him. He should go to the mountain and teach her a lesson. Of course, it was a desperate attempt to distract him from a mission. He had the power to save the rebellion, and he would do just that. To the rebel base he would go. I'm gonna do this one.
Zenobia was taunting him. No doubt she hoped to lure him into a trap. Well, he was nobody's sucker. Especially not hers. He carried victory in his gauntlet. He would go where the council pointed him. As he set foot on the island, Renato felt energized, like when he was hunting or dancing. Then he smelt it, the stench of ravens. It was a good thing he was here too, before they tripped over the secret base. He was really saving the council toad's bacon, so to speak. Once, he found a Superman issue #1 in mint condition in a jar he'd broken. He planned to keep breaking things until he had the whole series. see? Renato was a hero of the revolution. He deserved a medal. Soon, he deserved every medal they had, and hopefully one big medal ceremony in front of everybody with trumpets so everyone could know what he'd accomplished. Renato did not feel well. In fact, he felt dead.